Recently, I've been playing a lot of Total War Medieval 2 as France, and I've been having a smashing time destroying rebels, growing Christendom, and destroying the heretics. Speaking of, here are some I prepared earlier. The Moors are the only Islamic joint in Western Europe, so you can imagine they feel as comfortable as a British person walking the streets of London. And I'll do everything in my power to keep it that way. It's probably worth noting that I made this script way before I had actually won the campaign as France and was labelled like Big Emperor. This used to be a lot more orange and Portuguese and Spanish, but you know, an emperor's got to do what an emperor's got to do. Us and the Moors engaged in some shrewd and silly diplomacy at the very beginning of the near the beginning of the game, which resulted in me having allergies. I think what was it for free? I think they gave it to me for free, which is a bargain. And despite this agreement, they kept harassing me to get it back. Surprise armies coming out of nowhere, sieging it all the time. One mini personal crusade later that may or may not have involved the king absolutely slaughtering their sultan, when we're back to square one with an alliance to boot. Now, naturally, I would have just moved on and annihilated all the Moors like the heretics they were. Sicily decided to try their luck. They came in boats, they took my poor little village and tried to take Tunis. And as you can see, that ended very unfavorably for them. They just collapsed into rebels after I pushed on them. It was fantastic. But despite that alliance, I never kept Algiers undefended. It is pitiful now, but trust me, used to be stacked. All the units were here. It was great. And despite having an alliance with the Moors and literally everyone but Sicily, everyone in this area, I did keep it stocked up, not because I feared an attack from Sicily, but because I feared an attack from the Moors, whom I had an alliance with. Despite the alliance, the Moors never hesitated to try and send armies my way, siege the place, and break the alliance in the same breath. But the sieges never lasted long, and managed to wrangle them for thousands and thousands in beautiful tribute for peace that I knew wouldn't last a second. I mean, look at this, they just can't get enough of war. Like, you know, before this, look at this army, man. Look, look at us. Look at them. They are attacking us. I don't even know what's going on anymore, man. We had peace before this. Before they decided, and then suddenly they decided that they didn't want peace. You know, I was going to let them live for a bit, but now I'm just going to have to stomp them out. It's just ridiculous. Putting having their economy being funneled to me aside, what is the point of the alliance if they were just going to break it? What is the point of peace if they can't be trusted with it? That's the thing. By establishing an alliance, we are trusting each other to assist and defend each other, and it's proven great with all the other nations, but in this case it's just a formality that will repeat itself again and again and again. I can't trust the Moors. No matter what decrees are in place, no matter the handshaking, the nodding and the tea parties, they only form an alliance with me so that they don't get the giant run of Christian justice up their rears. But they break it over and over again to try and reciprocate the pleasantries. I can't trust them, but siphoning their economy is just hilarious, so they're lucky in that regard. But the question still remains. Now I know what you're saying, it's just a game, it's programmed to backstab you, algorithms, RNG, this, that, the other. So let's talk about real life, with important implications and serious sensitivity. This is Roosevelt. Say hi, Roosevelt. He has just come home from Germany with some fantastic news. Hey everyone, Hitler has promised not to attack Poland, and this treaty proves it. Phew, I'm so glad that no further conflict will happen in 1938 and onwards. Yes, Hitler did actually sign a treaty to not attack Poland, but since they wouldn't let them build a highway and annex a city or something, he decided he was justified in plunging the world into chaos for a little bit. The Moors, Hitler, whatever. We all know that not everyone can be trusted, be it through what they say, what they do that contradicts something they previously said or did. So why then do we trust? It's such a fickle thing and can be broken anytime, all the time, by anyone. Willingly or not, it seems trusting is inherently silly. We can't trust anyone to do anything other than potentially break it. Maybe a better question is then, if trusting is so flawed, why do we value it so much? Whole relationships, peace, and traditions can be abolished by the easy act of making a promise. When we lose that 50-50 bet of trusting someone, we rage or mourn as if it were guaranteed from the start. Worse still, we even sometimes prepare for it. I left soldiers in Algiers in case the Moors stabbed me in the back. What's the point of the alliance then? We prepare for the breaking of promises, yet we act as if they are so sacred, in a strange hypocrisy that perpetrates a Schrodinger's cat of truths and lies. Whether you can trust that person to do that thing or not, they will still do whatever it is they were going to do. Whether Hitler signed that treaty or not, he still would have invaded. Whether I called out to my dad that I indeed would like a cup of tea when he is making the rounds does not guarantee that I will receive my cup of tea. But I always do. Is it that I trust him to make me tea because he has done so many times? Or is it that I trust him because I just know he will? What if he were to not make me tea? What if some divine miracle my own dad discards my mug with malevolence as he boils the kettle with no intention to make me tea at all with a gleeful grin? Well, he would probably apologize, and he probably wouldn't have heard me, or he probably would have forgotten to make tea at all. Whatever the case, I would still trust him to make me tea the next day. Why is this? What's wrong with us? Whether I trust my dad to make tea or not, he has every morning, without fail, just the way I like it. Would I entrust a stranger to fulfill the same sacred tradition? Probably not. But then again, is it due to the fact that, unlike my dad, the stranger hasn't made me tea over and over again? Or is it that I don't know that he just will? Okay, enough of this. What even is trusting? Our own expectancy, the self-righteous element of ourselves that expects others to do stuff for us, and when they fail, we flip the table as if we were 5 hours into a game of Monopoly. When I bought the Nerdatron 5000, I trusted that everything would be in place. All the miniatures, all the cards, all the tiles, and my faith was fulfilled. But it doesn't end there. I trusted that the mailman would bring it to me safely, that the truck wouldn't explode, and that I hadn't just got scammed of £100 for a D&D game I've been playing by myself, and I've enjoyed it thoroughly. I don't even really like roguelike games, but something about this just tickles me in the right way. Okay, so the cogs of capitalism can be trusted to peddle materialism. I get it. We can trust fundamental truths such as the sky being whatever the sunbeams feel like being and the weather in England being forever unpredictable. But then comes the subjective element. We already know that we can't trust everything, like who's going to win a race, or if the toaster will perfectly toast your crumpets despite putting it on the same setting every day, day in, day out. Those things we can't trust extend to each other. So why do we do it? Damn it. I trusted you to stay faithful in our relationship, and I trusted you not to leak the nuke codes. Clearly no one can be trusted, yet we trust anyway. What's the point? If we really think about it, trusting people is flawed, not perfect, just like us. It's a reflection. We try to aim for things we know we may not fulfill. A perfect artist trying to create a magnum opus with faulty brushes and unreliable paints, ignorant to the fact that he himself is not perfect. We hope that others will pick up the baton we hand them, hoping that they don't dash our dreams of perfection, because witnessing faults in others reminds us of our own inner imperfections. The trust is to hope that one day we will always fulfill our promises, to hope that eventually we will reach a state where trusting is more than a flawed faculty, where it means something, and that in putting your trust in someone is more than a sentiment, more than a reason to backstab them when they inevitably backstab you. Well, it's either that or an innate hypocritical streak within us all, fulfilling promises we choose to while holding others to account for all of theirs. Playing the great game where words are weapons that we don't know we are holding millimeters from everyone's hearts, with trust being the venom coursing through our tongues. Dad makes me tea not because I trust him, but because he just wants to. Maybe we shouldn't trust people. We can't predict the future and we can't force anyone to do anything. By trusting, all we are doing is setting ourselves up for a potential tantrum. Just let people do whatever they are to do. Make your case for they should do what you want them to do, but don't hold them accountable for it, no matter if they say they will. I dunno. Perhaps it's the optimist in me, or the self-doubting pessimist, but I'd like to believe the former. That's what belief is, isn't it? If it isn't taught, it's chosen. To trust is to hope that one day it means that the Moors will not keep breaking the God-forsaken alliance. Oh my word! I've recently been playing a lot of Spore. I mean a whole lot of Spore. I've also been having a lot of showers, and it dawned on me one day as I was coming out of the shower that the world is like Spore, except on a lot of different levels. Let me explain. Spore consists of 6 stages, aiming to represent evolution. You start off in the cell stage, a little bubble of cytoplasm trying to navigate the dangerous primordial soup. Then comes the creature stage, when the cells divided and stuck together in unholy matrimony. These savages roam the planet, fighting, greeting, mating, and migrating. What's this? Fire? Well, it seems these plucky creatures have stumbled across and controlled fire, the key to tribalism. The tribal stage sees these homunculi fighting other tribes for dominance of that continent, and you can even subdue other little creatures you haven't grown a brain yet. From the ashes of your fire come the plumes of your chimneys, as the dominant tribe then forges great cities across the globe, also forging it into an ethno-state. The civilization stage has you battling it out with your own species for unity over the planet through warfare, indoctrination, or sweet, sweet money. Finally, once you've conquered every inch of that mud ball, you can go to space. When you're zooming around in your spaceship, you come across a lot of other civilizations and societies and species. From tribes to cities to empires, you come across the lot. It's really interesting to be able to explore the whole galaxy and come across loads of different societies with different ideologies. It's truly an awe-inspiring game. Now, as I was walking out the shower, I had a strange mental image of the world map, but each country having a different stage attached to them. Some space stages were sprinkled about in countries such as the US, Russia, and China. Civilization stages were the most common, with a few tribal stages thrown about. But if you were to zoom out, what symbol would represent humanity? When considering the stages, I wouldn't quite say we're at the space stage yet. This is the space stage. The civilization stage is what many would see as akin to our current state, a load of humans fighting each other, but I beg to differ. In the game, they're of the same species. Here on Earth, that's almost debatable at this point. We're all so far removed from each other. So, what about the tribal stage? A bunch of different species fighting for dominance over the continent. That's similar to our current state of being in terms of attitude. Different traditions and different cultures and different garments, all squabbling and in conflict. There are alliances and there are wars. It's just this tribe fighting with that tribe definitely isn't a mutually assured destruction moment. The creature stage is often regarded as the best stage in the game, the one where you roam around, dig up bones, slaughter, and dance and eat and mate. Truly the hedonistic paradise. Terrified by things existentially larger than us, reveling around the place, inflicting our will where we see fit. So, what stage are we at truly? What if I were to say all of them? It certainly seems clear if we were to bring humanity's soul into the ring. Why is creature stage popularly regarded as better than the other stages? The only true difference is that the latter has tools to wage war and alliances, whereas creature stage is all about letting your claws do the talking, or your fists, or your nipples. The point is, humanity is rather barbaric. The enjoyment in tossing diplomacy to the curb and letting a wild side run is not something we left in the cradle. It's something we latched onto like a baby with their dummy. Humanity. the capabilities of the space stage, the appearance of the civilization stage, the attitude of the tribal stage, the spirit of the creature stage, like a monster holding a spear that coordinates legions of weaponized advanced vessels while dreaming, conquering the stars. Hammy over here has been sentenced to death for eating prawns, which clearly do not have scales or fins, so is directly against the law in this probably society. He deserves a death sentence right alongside the teabag monkey, who slaughtered someone in cold blood. Both these sinners shall be sent right to hell upon judgment. Laws are pretty weird. It's a word we use for a few things. Laws are things we absolutely cannot cross, like laws of physics, and things we absolutely can cross, but are told not to, like human laws, such as being naked in the street or helping someone by removing their appendix in a spontaneous surgery. The laws of how the universe works are electrical concrete laws, as no matter what they're called, they can't feasibly be broken, such as bumblebees flying due to their composition and weight or whatever. Wait a minute. The laws of humans, or laws that can be broken, I like to call lies and deceit. These days, they're so loose and wobbly that you may be breaking laws and not even realizing it. Murder is more or less a law that humans everywhere deem something not correct, such as legal institutions hand out reprimands for people that commit murder. In most cases, be it a law book, an ancient scroll, or religious text, or your carers, murder is usually frowned upon. To coach the Wizard of Oz in Wicked, the truth is something everyone agrees upon, so surely everyone thinks that murder is wrong, then it must be right. Well, not really. Our legal constitutions, our laws, our spiritual inclinations, our everything is ultimately nothing. We act how we're told to act, and we are punished for not following suit. Now, this isn't just some anti-government rant about rebelling or whatever, it's just that it's strange, isn't it? Laws, rules, we all decide to do what we want to. There's strange freedom in knowing that the system we find ourselves in, the system that coordinates, subjugates, the system that liberates and discriminates, is just one among a whole world of systems that enforce their own rules. Forget Bedrock and Java when there's a worldwide parity update happening. Are we ever going to agree upon a single harmonious accord of rules and regulations, or that's just a dictator's wet dream?